What is up, guys? Just gonna do a little work on the 2021 YZ250F Monster Energy Edition bike I picked up a couple weeks ago. I was looking for a skid plate option, and I decided to go with the SXSlide plate. It's super awesome, full coverage all the way back to the linkage. And I started looking for some install videos. I couldn't find any, so it came with some instructions. John over there at SXSlide is awesome. Did some quick work. Hit him up if you need a good slide plate, and we'll go through the install on this on the 250F here. So out of the box here, we got the skid plate. You can see that it's pretty sweet. It does a full coverage on the whole, all the way back to the linkage. You have the linkage hammerhead piece. And it even comes with the tap for the frame and a drill for the frame, a couple of 6mm and 8mm nut. The frame bracket gets full coverage on this guy here. And you'll see we'll be going on the bike. First thing we'll got to do is take off the factory guard for the water pump hoses and install the bracket. And then we'll go underneath. You'll be able to see actually the factory, I think it's the FX that has the skid plate already on it. So we'll just use those factory mounting holes for that guy. The front frame and then the back frame there. The back frame will actually have to tap out a little bit. That's what the tap's for. So that front one actually goes already with the 6mm right next to the drain plug. And then the back one will have to tap out to that 8mm bolt. First thing we'll want to do is pop off the guard, 8mm, quick and easy. And then the next thing we'll want to do is actually get that hole tapped out. So I'm going to grab the tap set, and we're just going to get that very back hole. This one here, the front one is already set, like I said, with the 6mm threads. We'll pop off or tap out that guy there with the drill, and then tap it out a little bit. All included in the kit. All right, so in the kit there, they threw in this 17/64 drill bit. And we'll get that tapped out a little bit. Nice and easy. It wasn't much because it's almost an 8mm bolt already. And then we'll get that tapped with the tap kit they threw in there also. So they threw a 8mm by 1 1/4 thread tap in here. And trickiest part is making sure you're staying level. Not too much at a time. It's actually pretty good because it was so close. The factory from Yamaha came pretty darn close to size, so we're not doing too bad with going with this threading of it. But this is the only one we have to tap. The rest of it's all pretty good to go, which was pretty awesome with this kit. I loved that. I know some of the other kits were a little more tricky. This one is not too bad at all. We'll get that up there. Usually I back it out enough too, but that really wasn't that bad. You can tell it's pretty free spinning already. I have to do it by hand. That looks pretty good. Let's give it a test. Oh, it's feeling really good. All right, so this is the 8mm bolt. It's going to go in the back, closest to the linkage, and then the 6mm bolt's going to go in the front here. I'll just show you that this was already tapped on the 2021 frame. and I believe they did that because that's where the 250FX had the skid plate that came down, and that's the front mount for that one there. So we're going to take them out and then get it up there. Alright, so now we got to put the frame bracket piece on the inside here. It's actually going to go in front of the frame, and where it's going to mount on the bolts, it's right below the frame welds on here. I'll see if I can get a good angle of that once it goes up there. You kind of got to use 2 fingers and try to get up in there with one at a time. So best bet that I found after finagling with it for a little bit is put that frame piece in, and then I just used some blue tape to hold it in place to at least get those threads started. I tried a couple of different ways to hold on to that piece, but that plate pretty much covers everything, so it's a good thing, but also makes it kind of tricky to get in there. So tape holds it in the spot, get the thread started, pull the tape off. So I just got the thread started, still really loose as you can tell, but now I'm going to take my tape off so I don't look like a clown. All that good. And then we'll work on the back part of the linkage here. So you can see now we got the skid plate up all the way, or slide plate like SXS likes to call it, because you can slide pretty much across anything. They also have, and it protects the whole linkage back here, and then we have the extra linkage piece that's going to slide in right underneath here through our holes. Alright, so starting with the hammerhead piece, what it's going to look like, we're going to use the bushing that was in the kit up on top of the hammerhead piece like so, and then the bolt's going to go, the 6mm is going to go through the slide plate, then through the hammerhead linkage piece, and then the bushing to fill that gap that they have between the stock FX mount spot and then just the regular 2021 mount. So that's where we're going to go right there. All right, so I got the linkage in the right way. Put the bushing up on top here. I'm actually going to go into the front hole through the bushing, and we'll get that thread started. Perfect. That'll keep that gap, well, it'll keep the plate more level because of that gap that's there. And now that that piece is in, we'll swing the linkage protector back around and get that last bolt, the back bolt in that we tapped, the 8mm. And sometimes these holes are not exact, and that's what John recommends. Just, it's kind of like a close enough setup, and you might have to do a little tweaking, a little bit of heat bending or whatnot, but you can most definitely do that. Mine lined up very well. I'm pretty happy with the way that they lined up. So now we just got to tighten everything up. They're all good in there. That's a good one. We'll get it tightened up, and the front is still loose, so we'll get that all tightened up. John says there's no specs for torque on them, just tight enough, good and snug. We'll go with that. Now as I'm tightening these down, I kind of want to make sure that that hammerhead linkage is pretty centered, because it is loose, so we can get it centered as we're tightening them up here. I'm just using a drill driver to kind of get it close. And actually I want to do some of the fronts before I get that all too tightened down. Get that good. Go around, use a ratchet, just make sure it's snug. Not too many threads on what we tap there, so I don't want to over tighten them and rip them out. That would be good. But there's not. Yeah, okay, that's good. And I'll check these after every ride or so, and just make sure they're not getting loose. They shouldn't be good getting loose on me. So now we have our linkagettes and they're pretty solid. That's not going nowhere. And you can see one of the coolest features about this guy that I liked a lot is you can still get in and access the drain plug to change the oil. Perfectly lined up right with the hole. I don't think it's going to catch too much on there. If it does, oh well. It's a dirt bike. It's supposed to get a little bit dirty, but still changing the oil is kind of a big deal. Filters on the other side, so you don't have to worry about removing the skid plate to do an oil change. May have to take it off when you're checking your strainer, but you should actually still be able to sneak that. No, you got room for that. That's good. It's right clear. John did a perfect job setting that up for this bike, at least keeping maintenance in mind. So there you have it. That's the easy install. A little bit trickier than you thought in some of the spots, but it's not a bad deal though. The guys at SXS have it dialed in pretty good. I had some good fortune of trying to figure out where that one bushing piece went and sent John an email, and he responded really quick, got back to me, so we got that in there real good. I can't promise that they're gonna have as quick customer service going forward because I see these guys selling like hotcakes. You can see it's super beefy, really good looking, got a lot of protection, got rid of the factory water pump covers and replaced it with this guy, and you can see it's protected all the way up to the radiator nipple up there, so that's really good quality stuff there. It is a little bit wider than I was thinking, primarily on the shifter side. You can see there's just a little bit of overhang, but that's pretty sweet because it protects the crankcase cover and possibly even your shifter if you nail something straight on. I was looking at it straight from the down spot and curious if I was going to catch it with my boot. I don't think so. It still runs through the gears perfectly fine. You can see it gets a little close, but there's definitely still about 1.5 inch gap from the underside. So yeah, it'll still run through the gears perfectly fine. But yeah, that definitely is protecting everything. Like I said, you hit a log, you can slide over it. That's probably why they call it the slide plates full. This is the SXSlide full plate, incorporating the shift linkage and everything. Super quality product. I'm very happy with that. Excited to take it out on the track and in the woods, see what's going on with it. And again, SXS is based out of Spokane, Washington. I'm over here in Renton, Washington, on the other side of the mountains, but it was recommended to me by a friend, Kesley, when I was looking for a skid plate. She recommended this company. Found out he was buddies with my cousin, and their buddies all in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, run these guys. So yeah, definitely spread the word. These guys are legit. Website again is SXSlideplate.com.